Yes, as Bruce said very shortly ago, I was sitting in classes trying very hard to finish my MBA here at Pace, which I completed in May. So I think that was the first time I've officially been called an alumni at Pace. So Bruce, congratulations, you get that honor. So Bruce asked me to come in and talk a little about mug clubs. So I'll detail the company a little bit, what we do, what we hope to do, why we think this is a good idea, and why we've invested in it. Then I'll talk a little bit about the process of getting from the I've got a good idea stage to beginning to implement, to testing proof of concept, and ultimately to rolling out, which is now the phase that my company is in merchant beta testing, and now we're actually hoping to go to the market and actually sell this and scale it and make some money out of it is the idea. So a little bit about myself. Bruce already spoke about most of it, but I was a finance and accounting major at Lehigh University. I graduated in 2005, making me likely much older than all the rest of you, something I've slowly come to terms with. So after Lehigh, I chose a finance and accounting career. I joined Johnson & Johnson. They have a leadership development program that I was part of, and I spent 8 years at J&J, and it was amazing. It's a great company, moved up through the ranks, left as a senior manager, but after 8 years I decided either I'm going to do this forever, or it's time for a change before they lock me into the pension, and I decided that I did not want to work in a huge corporate infrastructure for my entire career. Lots of benefits to it, but in the end I just couldn't see myself being happy being part of the bureaucratic machine for the rest of my life. There's a long story for anyone who wants to hear it later, but I'll spare all the rest of you for now. So I came to Pace. Came to Pace as an MBA student. Came as a graduate assistant. Bruce interviewed me and was foolish enough to take me on working for him. And I spent 18 months in the lab doing work to promote the Entrepreneurship Lab and all its different initiatives, the programs, the programming, the Desert Fellowship, and so on and so forth. And it was a great experience. Absolutely loved it there. I think that kind of pushed me further towards startup and entrepreneurship. I think when I came, I just knew I wanted to work for smaller companies, but I think this brought me to the extreme of now founding my own company and trying to get it off the ground. As Bruce said, over that time, I was a Desert Fellow, so I was working with a company in Israel. I was also offered the proof of concept grant from 10 Pat Levine initiative. And that, those things really kind of helped get mug clubs off the ground. They kind of funded my life while I was trying to do this thing. And $7,500 was a lot towards building the first iteration of the app and testing our marketing strategies and stuff like that. These were all things that helped us cultivate this company. While I was working at the lab, I think I got full-blown entrepreneurship-itis, and I bought a bar down in Texas and bought it out of bankruptcy, and we've now turned it into a profitable business. When I took it over, the sales were roughly $25,000 a month. We're up to $75,000 a month now. The bar is what gave rise to mug clubs, because we had a wide beer selection. We wanted to promote that, and we needed a way to promote that. And living up here in New York, I joined a beer club at my local bar. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a cool idea, a cool marketing gimmick, and I wanted to implement that down in Texas. But I didn't want to do it the old-fashioned way. I didn't want paper lists. I did not want Excel spreadsheets or anything like that. I wanted something digital. So I looked on the Android store and the Apple store, and I searched Google for anyone that had any type of beer-based loyalty program for bars. Nobody had it. So I kind of sat back and said, all right, well, do I want to try and create this? And I did the math, because that's what I do. I'm a finance person. And I said, there's no way in hell it makes sense for me to do this just for my bar. It's going to cost me $30,000 to $50,000 to get the technology running, get the back end running, test it, get all the graphic design and stuff done. So no. But once you build the technology, anybody can use it. Right? There's nothing special about adding one more bar to the platform. There's no incremental marginal cost of doing that. So I stepped back and said, all right, well, what if we built this technology, but not for my bar, but for anyone's bar? And we scaled it, and we adopted a SaaS model. And we went to market saying, if you want to host this sort of program, you don't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get the technology up and running. We already did that for you. All you need to do is pay us X dollars a month, and right now we're asking anywhere between 60 and 100, depending upon your commitment to us, and you can host your own club using our technology, using our app, using our website, and that's all you have to pay. And it's a much more reasonable cost model for any bar to host this sort of loyalty program. So that's where mug clubs came from. And I started nurturing it while I was still working at the lab, and then I got the grant from the Levine initiative. And over the last year or so, we've been trying to get this technology to come forward in a commercially viable way. So that's kind of my background and how all this started. Yeah.
I'm not sure I got exactly what is the idea behind it. It is it's a reference of bars on the platform?
Thank you for asking me to clarify that. So this is what a mug club is. A mug club is you walk into a bar and they have 100 different taps, they have a bunch of different beers, and they want you to try all the different stuff they have in the bar over a long period of time. and they will give you rewards for drinking 10 different beers, 20 different beers, 50 different beers, 100 different beers, all the way up to drinking everything that they have. It's a marketing play. So the idea is they get the customers involved in this loyalty program and in this mug club to get you to come in more often, to try maybe an extra beer while you're there, and it helps promote their sales by getting them to the club. So that's the marketing initiative that we wanted to copy and turn into a digital app and a website. Does that make sense to everyone? Or keep going? All right, cool. So yeah, so that's who I am. So let's talk about mug clubs a little bit. So, to that effect, we are the first digital loyalty program based on beer and catering specifically to bars and breweries. There is no one else who does what we do. The closest thing to us is Tap Hunter, which is an online menu hosting program. And other than that, I guess maybe Yelp. But no one really plays in this space. No one is out there advertising to bars. This is a way we're going to help you sell more beer by helping you get more loyal and more engaged customers. So that's where the idea came from. That's the market we play in, and that's the niche we currently occupy, thankfully for the short term, by ourselves. We're a B2B product. So if you think about Yelp and OpenTable, they are not B2B, they are B2C. The whole idea for Yelp and OpenTable was to get everyday app users on the platform, and once there's lots and lots of people using the app, they can go to bars and restaurants and say, you should pay us because we're going to give you access to your customers in a way you otherwise can't. That is not our strategy. We are B2B. So we are going out to the bars and we're saying, listen, if you adopt this marketing program, we will help you grow your sales. We will help you engage your customers better, we'll help you make them more loyal, and we will help you make more money. So from our perspective, we go out to the business, we sell to the business as our customer, and then they bring their patrons onto our app platform. I think this is a novel approach because I don't have to go out and solicit the app users. I send marketing collateral to my bars, they put up the posters, they put up the tabletop tents, they get their staff to tell people to download my app and to join it. So it's a little different model than a lot of the places that are out there now. Yeah?
Do bars bring their own customers in the platform?
Yes.
But the customer base for each bar are separated from the customer base from another bar.
Yes.
Because they don't want to compete with each other.
So they don't have a choice, right? So if you sign up for my program, you bring your 200 bar patrons into my system, the hope is they become more loyal to you. If the guy down the street signs up, he can also potentially attract those customers to his bar. But the idea is that even if you do have some cannibalization, or you do have some loss of share to your competitors, you're still getting them to concentrate on drinking. The way they earn the rewards is by drinking at your bar. So it's still an opportunity to maximize your sales because the rewards are based on the drinks you have at your specific bar, not having drinks across 10 bars all over the city. Does that make sense? Context for the bar, and people are a little confused, they're not used to it, they haven't thought of this before. But everyone does this. Every industry does this, right? Starbucks does this. You walk into Starbucks, you give them your card. After you earn 160 stars or whatever it is, you get a free cup of coffee. You walk into a Marriott hotel, you give them their loyalty card, and you earn points, you get free nights in the hotel. Same thing for airlines. Like every other industry seems to do this except for the food and beverage industry. So essentially what it does, you're taking this concept, you're taking this particular marketing product, and we've created a loyalty platform that makes sense in the context of a bar or a brewery. So thank you, Bruce, that's good clarification. Yeah, so that is what the platform is, that is what who we serve, and that is the product that we bring to them. So we did have this video created, hopefully it works. I'm not going to bet on it, but if it does, hopefully it'll help explain it in a little more detail.
Like your bot.
No autoplay, don't do that.
Tell me if you need, you can click that allow once or just exit at the bottom. If we need more volume, I'll come up there.
Looks a lot like your bar, right? Do you want loyal patrons that you see several times a week? Do you want to encourage them to keep coming back to try new beers or keep drinking their favorites? Do you want the same marketing tactics as big name companies like industry-leading coffee shops, airlines, and hotels, but without spending big bucks? Try the Mug Clubs app. It's a new, innovative, and specially designed app for bars and breweries that will help you build big-time patron loyalty, showcase your beer selection, allow you to offer rewards, track which beers are bought and collect ratings and reviews, and send push notifications to promote specials or events. You can even choose to reward for volume or variety. The Mug Clubs app is free for your patrons and simple and low cost for you. Setup takes less than 30 minutes. Learn more or get started at mugclubs.com.
Probably should have started with that. So that's a marketing video that we have on our website that details out the programs. So these are just some pictures. So right now, if you go into your phone, whether you have Apple, you have Android, you search for Mug Club, and we'll be the first result you get. Literally no one else doing this, no one else using that naming convention, which is nice and simple because for our customers, when they want to tell their patrons, the people who drink at the bars, to download our app, that's how they search for us. So the app is free to download. You're all welcome to give it a shot. And what it does is for each individual bar, you find the bar on the app, join it, lists out all their beers, lists out all their rewards, and that's how you participate in the club. Every time you drink a beer, you submit it to the bar. They'll say, yep, great, check, John drank that, and that's how you accrue your rewards over time. So it takes the place of the list of the paper punch card and all these other conventions that they use in order to track loyalty programs. So with that, we'll move on. So this is kind of the sales pitch we make to the bars. Essentially is, if you're gonna pay $60 a month, the average club has roughly 100 different members in it. That's for each bar. And we say that each patron who's in the club will buy maybe another beer a week, right? So overall, you're gonna sell another 400 beers a month. That makes an extra $1,600 in revenue per month. And then eventually you get to making roughly $15,000 a year in incremental sales by hosting our platform. And it's only gonna cost you $750. So it's a very good, it's very much the, buy a cup of coffee a day, sponsor a child somewhere in the world type of a story. At $60 a month, $2 a day, if you can sell one more beer per day, you're gonna make a profit hosting a Mug Club at your bar. Aside from the revenue fact, obviously you've got more engaged and loyal customers too. So that's the basic sales pitch to get more customers. So now I'm gonna kind of move away from Mug Clubs a little bit and talk about what it's like to be an entrepreneur, what it's like to move through proof of concept into implementation. This is gonna sound really negative, but it's just to kind of make the point that doing this is really hard. That's not to make myself feel better, but I think it's been an eyes wide open experience for me. And I've had a lot of advantages that other people might not enjoy. So I think this is kind of the reality show portion of the program, right? So just to start, a great idea is wonderful. Like in every day, if you've got an entrepreneurial mindset, or you're walking down the street and you see stuff like, they need to do that. That's such a cool idea. But unfortunately, having a great idea is just the very beginning, and it's not necessarily a very strong beginning. A very key lesson is your customer matters above everything else in the world. You may have the greatest idea in the world, all your friends might tell you you're a genius, you work out the unit economics and this is gonna make a ton of money and it's an underserved market and oh my God, this is such a good idea, I'm gonna be rich. If the people you wanna sell to don't wanna buy it, it does not matter. The hardest thing for me is getting out to my potential customers. There is not a good way to market to bar owners and restaurant owners. That is such a fact that I'm thinking of another company that will do that. Someone who will work with people like me and like Yelp and like OpenTable and all the beer distributors and all the Geeks Who Drink Trivia hosts and all these other companies that want to serve this market and can't get to them. So it's really, really important to think about, will your customer actually pay for it? And can your customer actually get to your product in a way that they'll want to understand it and buy it? If you cannot connect with your customer and you cannot close your sales, it doesn't matter how good your idea is, if it doesn't translate to revenue, it does not matter. To that effect, even people who say they will buy it, I've done demos. Hey, listen, 30 minutes, try it out. Do you like it? Dude, this is amazing. I've been looking for this for my bar forever. We're gonna get rich together. You're a genius, John. All right. They never sign up. They never sign up. For $60 a month. I'm not selling things in the hundreds or thousands, $60 a month. They just never do it. They never take the credit card out of their wallet, go to the website and pay for it. And that happens all the time. So, again, I'm not trying to be a downer, but these are things you have to plan for if you're going to go into this world. Some of you have entrepreneurial ideas that are amazing, and you're going to want to sell things that cost $1,000 a pop, $10,000 a pop. If my ratio is 50%, your ratio is going to be 2%. It's just the reality of it. Everyone thinks ideas are great until they go to write the check and look at the amount of money they have in their bank account or amount of money they have left on their credit card, and all of a sudden the good idea is not so good anymore. So just, again, a little negative, a little realistic. Also, timelines. So I've been working with this developer for 2 years now. He's a great guy. He built my entire system. He did it very well, very efficiently, and very cheaply. I paid him a couple grand a couple months ago. All right, John, all these upgrades, all the things your customers want, can't wait to bring it to market. Email all the people who I'm about to sell to, email the people who already pay me. All this stuff's gonna be delivered. Dimitri told me 4 weeks. I told everyone else 8 weeks. It is now 12 weeks. It is not out there yet. Everything you do in this world will take twice as long as you think it will, at least. The people who work with you don't share your sense of urgency. They probably don't share your customers. The idea is crystal clear in your head, You explain it to someone, they go out and develop it, and what they bring back is not what you explained to them. Or maybe it is and you didn't explain it correctly. So just another thing is, you have to plan for everything to take way longer than it's supposed to. It's just the reality of doing business with other people. It's the reality of the fact that other people's sense of urgency isn't high as yours. I will have someone say, I'm gonna sign, I literally had someone on the phone tell me, John, I'm gonna put my credit card information right now. Right now. I called them a week later, I don't see your credit card information. Oh, sorry, John, really, really busy. I will do it right now. You can imagine how the story goes. I have to call them later this afternoon, and hopefully we can make right now later today. But it happened. It's not malice. It's not them trying to. They think this is a great idea. They've already set the marketing material. They really want to do this. But other people have other priorities, and they're probably not aligned to your priorities. It's hard, and it's frustrating at times, and it will get you down at times. And more than once, I thought, I think I'll just stick with my 9-to-5 job. That's easier. I just make my salary and call it a day. Everything costs more than you think. Someone will tell you it costs $10,000 to do something that costs $20. It'll take 20 hours to get this thing done. It'll take 40 hours to get it done. Yeah, again, just one of those life lessons. You know, hey, John, I'll give you this great deal to develop this thing, do this marketing program. But by the time it gets to the end, they've added this many more costs. I'm having my house remodeled right now. It's going to cost X. It doesn't cost X. It costs Y. Y is always a bigger number. It's just the reality of doing work. And no one pays you as much as you expect either. So, you know, for any of you who are financially inclined, you're going to model this out. I'm going to have X number of customers. They're going to pay me Y price. I'm going to make Z revenue. Great. I have all these costs, and I'm going to make EBITDA. I'm going to make profit at the end. The revenue part will always be smaller. The cost part will always be higher. And the EBITDA part will always be harder. And that's frustrating because that's your cash flow. That's the money you need to keep the business going, to make payroll, to make improvements, to market your product. So put risk factors in. You'll make 70% as much revenue as you think. Everything will cost 30% more than you think it will. Plan for these things. I promise it'll happen. If it doesn't, good. God bless you. Congratulations. And please put me in contact with your vendors because I need to work with them. People are really flaky. I was very privileged early in my career. I worked at Johnson & Johnson. I worked at a Fortune 50 company with an amazing reputation that consistently ranked as a top 5 company to work for in the entire world. Most people are not the type of people who work at Johnson & Johnson. Your customers will be flaky, your vendors will be flaky, your partners will be flaky, people you hire will be flaky. I've hired 5 sales reps so far. I have conducted over 500 interviews in my career to hire people for J&J and other companies. All 5 of these people completely flaked out at me in the first 2 weeks. And interesting now, working in smaller companies, I see that they have similar ratios. If this is your passion, this is what you're excited about, this is what you want to do, and you're all in on it, nobody else is. And that will be reflected in the people you hire. Now, if you can afford to pay someone $250,000 and give them a big bonus and so on and so forth, you're probably attracting top talent. That won't be your case. I don't think most of us in this room have the sort of budgets to do that. So if you're trying to bootstrap, if you're working with seed money, if you're working with grants like I have been, expect a high failure rate for the people you hire and plan for that. Hire the first person, get them going. Start interviewing the second person. Don't wait for them 2 to 4 weeks, a month or 2 to fail. Start getting the next person in the hopper. Law of averages said they'll work out the same way, but you'll keep your timeline moving faster. And the bottom point, plan for disaster is a likely outcome. I think it is. I'm very fortunate, and I built the business this way intentionally. It's a low overhead business. It costs me $250 a month to run this business in fixed costs. So you know what? If we're $100 short, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect my life at all. But my wife works for the guy who founded Jet.com. As you know about Jet.com, it just sold to Walmart for $3.3 billion. In the course of bringing Jet.com to life, Mark Lorry, all Google him, amazing guy, raised $900 million to sell to Walmart for $3.3 billion. Most businesses require that sort of capital investment to keep going. So when you're thinking about your entrepreneurial project, think about whether you need to raise money to accelerate your company, to grow faster, or if you need it just to live. If you need it just to live, it's a very different dynamic. If you have to buy inventory, if you have to build things, if you need a manufacturing plant, or you need to give a retainer to someone who's going to make something for you, these are all really important considerations. And for me, I'm not so leveraged that if something goes sideways, the company will close in 2 months. I've supported companies as a consultant where if something goes sideways and they can't collect money for 30 days, they are dead and it's over. So it's a really important consideration. Whatever thing you want to create, whatever product you want to create, technology is wonderful because there's very low overhead involved. Certain things are not. I consulted for a company called Primary. They make children's clothing. And they have all these manufacturers on retainer who make all the clothes that they sell to parents. And if they can't deliver X amount of sales in a given month, the company's dead. Because the retainer is no more valid and they don't have the volume to support the people who are manufacturing for them, and the company doesn't exist anymore. Just a reality of doing business. So this is an honest moment from me, and I thought you should all hear. Key learning for me is go all in. I have tinkered with mud clubs for about a year now. I've done it as a part-time project. I have a full-time job that I work 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I have a bar in Texas. I have a 15-month-old son and a wife, and I was getting my MBA part-time. That does not work in the land of entrepreneurship. It works fine in the world of small business. I can run my bar with 2 to 3 hours a week of my time, and that's fine, and that's okay, because there's really no growth expectation for my bar. If I make $1,000 or more a month over a month, I'm a happy guy. That's great. When you're trying to scale a company, when you've got to live, breathe, and sleep something, it can't be a part-time venture. So what I'm just kind of sharing in this slide is, I wasn't looking at the slide when I said the live, breathe, and sleep your venture. That's kind of scary. Commit fully to this. If you can't commit fully to this, then you have to find someone else who can commit fully to this, who can make your idea a reality and be bought into it, hopefully. But if you don't have the time, energy, and resources to make a true entrepreneurial venture your life, then I would caution you against doing it. I'm not trying to dash anyone's hopes or dreams or anything like that. Obviously, it's different, potentially doing something for school or for something as part of a project or your degree. But if you really want this, it can't be something you do 15 to 20 hours a week. You can't be looking at your boss's email and your mud club's email saying, I gotta answer my boss first. That will not work in the long run. I've been very lucky, probably because I've been so slow in getting this thing going that no one's tried to jump into my space. But if all of a sudden Untapped tomorrow decides they're gonna launch a loyalty program, I am in a shitload of trouble. And I will not survive doing this 10 hours a week. So I made the decision to leave my 9-to-5 job to commit fully to this, to try and grow. I'm gonna give it hell for 3 to 6 months. If it doesn't work after 3 to 6 months of me being fully committed to it, then I'll reassess and probably start sending my resume out and go back to my 9-to-5 job. No harm in that found. But my thought to all of you, as folks who were earlier in the process than me, is invest fully up front. If you can't, be honest with yourself and really think about whether or not anyone can make any idea work, giving it 10 to 20 hours a week of your time. I think